This book that I am about to review is the longest book I have read in less than 24 hours. I have been waiting 2 years for this, and now I finally get to review the sequel to my favorite book. Jump on this Shark Week 3. Kronos Rising. Kraken. My first video book review was Kronos Rising. Now I am on my 20th video book review, and let me know how much I've improved on my reviews. Welcome to day 3 of my Shark Week 3, titled Squid and Octopus Day. Let us begin. The plot. It has been 30 years since the Paradise Cove incident, and now the Kronosauruses are making a colossal comeback. After the oceans become uninhabitable, the apparent fact that signing that endangered Kronosaurus species must protect document was not such a good idea. Now it's open season. Meanwhile, there is a facility where James and Amara Braddock's son, Dirk, studies several Kronosauruses that are being kept to be trained, while their other son, Garm, hunts them down. Eventually and naturally, the military get interested, and things go from there. Yeah, I've neglected to mention that this is a 2-part sequel. This is part 1. It is still a long book, don't let me get you wrong, turning at 517 pages of actual story. The rest is definitions of words that are in this book, which I always find very informative. The first book was 542 pages of actual story, and that took me a week to finish. Obviously, my reading skills have improved tenfold. There, of course, are other creatures besides the Kronosauruses, hence the title. Yep, that's right. A couple of massive octopi, or simply put, Krakens. Time to get the Kraken. One dislike I had, though, was the fact that the characters never really find out about the Krakens in this book. They get hints of its existence, but hey, that's why they call it Volume 1, baby. There are 2 other prehistoric predators worth mentioning. The first is a bulldog fish, which apparently come in swarms and cause very grisly attacks. The other, well, that should be left as a surprise, but I'll tell you this much. I was pleasantly horrified. I also like the idea of the life givers instead of lifeguards. They basically hop in the water off their jet skis to save people from underwater menaces. They claim it is like an adrenaline rush, and I found that to be kind of interesting yet funny. Actually, I found a lot of things very funny, mainly dialogue, in this book. Max's sense of humor never ceases to smirk with a good joke. I was never frowning in this book. Well, besides a couple scenes involving certain characters, and even though it was discussed early on, I won't spoil it. One thing I always find very interesting about the way Max tells his stories is through his creature's anatomy. He basically comes up with reasons why the creatures are the way they are, and how they work is based off of very logical explanations. There are also a lot of cool references to movies such as Jurassic Park and Alien. He doesn't just copy the scene, he literally says that that particular scene is very similar to Jurassic Park or Alien. This book even has somewhat of a soundtrack to it, featuring songs such as Dreams by the Cranberries, and mentioning Kiss and Gene Simmons' Ton. The characters are fleshed out, however there was no love between the 2 couples. They are literally just fuck buddies. But even saying that, I still felt that the chemistry between them was strong, especially Garm and the Russian chick with boobs of cantaloupe proportions. Dr. Grayson was interesting. I still can't tell whose side he's on, but I have my suspicions. Dr. Kimberly Bain, whose presence isn't always there, but every time she is, it's worth reading. There are a lot of great characters, but let me focus on something that totally took me off guard in this book. The gore. This time, as opposed to the first book, the gore's amped up to 11. People are fucking shredded to pieces. There's blood and entrails everywhere. Gory fights, greasy bites. It's not a tame book by any stretch of the imagination. And the two-born scene was fucking disgusting, Max. Props. Max has been a very good friend to me over the past year. Still, that has no bearing on my overall rating. In closing, I thought this book was not as good as the first. The Kronosauruses are threatening, but not as threatening as the one from the first, mainly because no one knew what to do. The opening scene with the Kraken is great, but after one other scene, they sort of just fall into the background, but again, this is still volume 1. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I can't wait for part 2. It will be epic, I am sure. And Max, thank you so much for writing 2 awesome books, and I am eager to see what you have in store. You apparently don't have your books in store. That would make it a lot easier to find and buy them, damn it. Overall, I give Kronos Rising Kraken a 4.5 out of 5. My initial rating was 4 out of 5, but I've been thinking over and over about this book. I had to give it that extra half a point. It has stayed with me for that long. I am Brian Gatto, host of Horror Show Movie Reviews. Make sure to like my Facebook page in the description below and leave comments and subscribe.